Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a review of yet another, it's unbelievable, Saint-Saëns Organ Symphony, as part of the cycle of the complete Saint-Saëns Symphonies on BIS. Is this right side up? No. BIS. There we go. Try that again. Featuring Thierry Escaich, whatever his name is, on the organ, and the Orchestre Philharmonique Royal de Liège, see that I can do, conducted by Jean-Jacques Kantorow, or Kantorow, for whatever his name is. I'm so tired of these people. Can't they all be named John Smith? Give me a break, will you please, folks? Anyway, okay. So this particular volume contains the organ symphony, as you may have guessed, since I mentioned the organ. And it's actually a very pretty organ. There's a picture of it here in the Philharmonique de Liège that was built in 1888. It's an old organ. It was renovated. It was restored in 2002 to 2005. So, restored to what? I'm not sure, but it was fixed. Here it is. Isn't it lovely? It's a lovely hall. Beautiful, beautiful hall. The very attractive organ, a little bit small, and you can tell from the sound that it's a very natural sort of recording, but therein lies an issue which we'll deal with momentarily. This particular volume contains the F major symphony, Urbs, Roma, which Saint-Saëns was only 21 when he wrote it. It was like one of those Prix de Rome kind of things, And the topic of the symphony was Urbs Roma, which means the city of Rome. And what the city of Rome has to do with the symphony, nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's completely incomprehensible, and it's impossible to figure out. And it doesn't matter. It happens to be an amazingly beautiful and accomplished symphony. It's fabulously well orchestrated. It's Saint-Saëns' longest symphony. It's longer than the organ symphony. It's a good 40 minutes. And it contains, for its third movement, the scherzo, the second movement is the scherzo, and it's just delicious. Absolutely delicious. The model for all of this stuff is clearly Beethoven, because the third movement is a funeral march, which makes the occasional passing reference to the funeral march in the Eroica Symphony, but the finale is a fascinating theme and variations, which ends quietly, but quietly in an absolutely magical kind of way. It's not like quietly droopy quietly. It's just ethereal, and it just evaporates. It's wonderful. It's an absolutely lovely piece that never gets played. Saint-Saëns himself never promoted it, although apparently, according to the notes, he did complain later that nobody was playing it, but he didn't do anything about it. So, what could we do? It's marvelous, and it really deserves to be heard. And you can hear it. This is a very good performance, by the way. It's lovely, absolutely lovely. But the main item is for everybody is going to be, of course, the organ symphony, which is that piece that confounds recording engineers from the dawn of time. It does not really quite confound the BIS people. I think what we're getting is a very, very natural sounding recording. The question is whether you'll like the nature of the natural sounding recording. And I'm of two minds about it. The performance itself is very good. It's a good, solid performance. It's not the cleanest rhythmically in the first movement. Chugga 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 chugga. It could be a little bit tighter and have a little bit more tension. The adagio is quite lovely. The scherzo, they get through it pretty well. It's exciting, and it's rhythmic, and that's nice. When the organ comes crashing in the finale, well, it doesn't crash. It's not the biggest sounding organ, but it's well integrated into the sound of the orchestra. You get a real sense, listening to this recording, of the sort of orchestra up front and the organ in the back. And it's not in the back in a bad way. It's just a question of perspective, which I think is very effective. But there are some oddities of sonority. It seems somehow as though that the string section is rather small sounding. I'm not quite sure. I'm looking at the photos here to see what I can see here. But there are moments when the orchestra seems to just drop away. Maybe it's Kantorow's conducting. It's possible because he does some odd things. The big accelerando into the coda of the finale. Usually da 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 crash da 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 da. That thing. Well, most people make an accelerando into that. He just takes off like a shot. Da 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 da. Oops, sorry about that. Da 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 do 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 like that. And he has these sort of oddities once in a while. It's not bad. It's actually interesting. But you notice the strange balances coming and going a little bit then. I will say one thing about the finale particularly. Those pastoral interludes. Do 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 do. That tune? They've never sounded so beautiful as they do here. It's lovely. It's incredibly lovely. I mean, just for that, I loved listening to this. I really did. So it's a good performance, a solid performance. The other thing that bothered me is the cymbal player. He's swooshy. Nowadays, a lot of percussion sections have these huge clodhopper cymbals. They're like 28-inch cymbals, and they swoosh. You don't want swoosh because the piece is going to be swooshy anyway because of the acoustic and whatnot. What you want is crash, a really good, sharp, full crash. But here it's kind of sounds like a gas escape. So that was a little annoying here and there. I don't know. It's a very natural recording of the organ symphony in this particular hall. In a good, solid performance. It's not as exciting as the best, and it's not as well recorded as the best to the extent that I think the acoustic kind of precludes that. And that's just how I feel about it. So, Saint-Saëns organ symphony collectors, of whom I happen to be one, will enjoy this for its distinctive qualities. And they are distinctive, and they are positive, often positive qualities. But others who have great organ symphonies, and I've talked about quite a few, there's no need for another. There really isn't. But do make sure you have Urbs Roma, because you're going to want to hear that. And give it a listen separately. It gets dwarfed by the organ symphony, but listen to it. It's really worth hearing. You'll be very surprised. That, for me, is the real treat here, not the organ symphony. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.